So I'm here to show you a couple little tips on pressure washers. These are pretty generic from either Lowe's or Home Depot. They all have the same issues. And that's with the pumps. Engines seem to be fine. They start, they run, then they'll start surging, usually after you store the unit for a season. Most people don't know to blow all the water out and condition the seals with usually antifreeze works well. If you can put antifreeze in the hose and the pump, that'll actually condition the seals a little bit for when you fire it next season. It's a real simple fix if you have some tools. Basically an Allen set, hex set here. You have these 3 bolts that are on the bottom of the pump. I don't know if you can see underneath here. So underneath is basically just 3 pistons that pump up and down. And then that that drives the pump. So this is your pump. This is your hose end, your garden hose. And this is your pressure side. In here, there's a little check valve that prevents the water from coming back. And then here, there's 3 check valves as well to prevent the water from going back into the pump, because then it'll just circulate in here. And that's what usually happens. These check valves will go bad in here, and the water will just circulate in here. You could pretty much tell by putting your hand on the bottom if your pressure washer is not working, and you'll feel that it gets really hot. It's basically cooking the water in there. So in here, you're going to see these little white rings. At the bottom there, at the very bottom, right there, is these check valves. So these check valves, oh, here's the puppy I was looking for. This is a little O-ring seat. This goes in the bottom of your pump. Now this is all one assembly when you buy it. When I say one assembly, this right here is an assembly, check valve assembly. And there's 3 of them. So basically what needs to happen is this little check valve is sitting inside the pump. When you open it, it looks like that. And that's your check valve. That's what allows the pressure to go where it needs to go and not go back into the pump. I don't know if you can see all the way in there, but you see these little plastic things, these little plungers. This is what prevents the water from coming back. So it's hooked up to a spring. It goes up and down. And look at this one. This is supposed to be, this is one that's damaged. So it's actually, it pushed through that bottom hole. Can you see that? All the way down the bottom there. You can see they actually pushed through. Instead of sealing now, they're sitting on the other side. So this is what it's supposed to look like. Nice and flat. It's like rounded. And then this will basically sit right in there. And when the pressure is created, this valve will open up. It'll open up like so. And then when the piston comes down, it'll pressurize. It'll allow it to pressurize. And then it'll open back up, just like a valve. So now you have this one here that is just completely mangled. And it's managed to push its way through the valve past that bottom O-ring and seal or seat. That basically is the seat down there. So this rebuild kit is very inexpensive, and you can find it on Amazon. They're all pretty much the same. The only thing is you can actually upgrade these to a stainless steel version, and it actually has some upgraded rubber. what I usually do is I'll get the whole body, I'll clear it all out, you know, all these valves, put them aside. Obviously, there's other valves here that are bad. They're in really bad shape. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, compared to a good one. That's mangled. And this is a good one here. It's a nice little mushroom there. Almost looks like a nail. So I think the rebuild kit is like 15 or 16 bucks. And the rest of this unit is in really good shape. It's almost like it wasn't even used. It looks like maybe it may have been used once and then probably sat. And again, that's usually what happens is, you know, these bodies here, they're nothing elaborate. You know, they're all aluminum. And if you have hard water, or if you're on, you know, you're on well water, that's the area where I'm at there's a lot of wells. You really need to flush anything that you're pumping water through. It's heavy in iron, a lot of minerals, and all that stuff just, if you don't flush it out, it just looks like it just cakes up in there. It eats away at the aluminum. It builds up, and it just jams all these check valves up. And then what'll happen is you'll go and get ready to pressure wash the side of your siding or something like that, or your RV, and you hook water up to here and you go to put water through it, and then you'll probably push a chunk of garbage in through the pump. It'll come in through here. It'll get up in the pump, and it'll just start jamming up all these valves and just mangling them. You can see it just destroys the valve. You know, this is the little spring. This spring is actually looks like it's a little beat, so you definitely want them returning. You could tell by this spring here. There's just a little bit of difference in it. It's a little corroded. It's got some junk on it. But this is what that's what the valve will look like if it's in good condition. Right there. And this will be the seat. I don't know if you can see that. That has a little bevel there. And then one side is flat. Obviously the flat side goes down like this. Or in this case, just to show you what's going on. The seat will fit right on there like that. And that's basically your valve. Now, this is a part. This valve itself, because it's just basically blown himself to pieces. These actually click together. Like that. You're going to see them on Amazon or wherever you buy them from. This is what the assembly should look like. Just like that. Try to get it upright here. Give you a little side profile here. And that's the valve action. You can see it opening and then seating, opening, seating, opening, seating. Obviously that other one is right here. It's just mangled. You couldn't get that to seat again. So some of these are salvageable. My suggestion is just take them all out. Clean out the pump really good. All in there. CLR works really good. And triple O steel wool, if you can get it in there. It won't damage anything. And just let that sit. And don't be afraid to get on these plastic pieces because they tend not to want to come out. They tend to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. And what I usually do is screwdriver in there. You can see this one's spinning. It might even come out. See if I can get lucky. Oh, here we go. So you can see where the valve is. It's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be on the other side here, where I stuck the screwdriver. But that's probably the easiest way to get these out. If you try to just start prying on them, they won't move because they're like embedded into the aluminum from all the crud. So the best thing to do is stick your flat screwdriver in there, or a flat screwdriver. You're not going to use these again. I mean, I wouldn't. Stick some new ones in there. Get rid of that one. You can do the same here. Let's see. I'm trying to do this with two hands, so one hand on the phone. This one's a real mofo here. So what I usually do is just try to work it back and forth. You'll feel it break loose. And it's moving a little bit. It's being a bit of a turd, but I think we can get it. There we go. There we go. I don't know if you could see that. It's got all kinds of junk on it. And when you go, after you're done taking all these out, let's take a look at the actual valves. See, they're mangled. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get them out. I might just have to chop them up. Yeah, they're wedged in there. So what I'll probably do with those is I'll get a drill bit and I'll just chew them up with a drill bit to get them out. That's going to be a little bit of a pain. Now you can always pull these seats out as well, but it really doesn't give you great access. But you're going to do the same with these, because I believe the kit comes with 6 total. And like I said, they're going to come assembled, and there are going to be 6 of these puppies, just like this. Get yourself some Vaseline. Put Vaseline on the O-ring. Clean this up really good. And then drop these in just like this. Right in there. And once your check valves are all good, back in place, you can bolt this back up to the bottom of the pump housing there. There's 3 Allens. Don't take the whole pump off. You just need to take the bottom off. Taking the whole thing off is a bit of a pain in the ass. You can see it's still only 3 Allens, but definitely in there much tighter. If you're going to do it, spray these beforehand with some PB Blaster, depending on what condition your pressure washer is in. Like I said, this was in really good shape. And I'm always seeing these things in the trash, and I've picked quite a few of them. And I usually just rebuild the pumps, and they're good to go. Sometimes I get rid of them, I sell them. Sometimes I give them to family members that need them. It's nice when you can lend out something that you trash picked and fixed for $15, as opposed to buying one for $300 and lending it out and having it never come back again. So it's nice to say yes to help people out. and you can give them, you know, a pressure washer that you picked out of the trash and repaired. So I'm going to order the kit for this pump, and I'll make another video as I'm assembling it, just so everybody sees how they go back together. Like I said, really simple. I'll get this and finish removing the rest of the check valves, and I'll just let it sit in some CLR overnight. And I'll go through it with some triple O steel wool. Like I said, that's really good. It doesn't dig into the sides of the aluminum or anything like that. It just smooths everything out, gets all the garbage out. And again, when you're storing these at the end of the season, if you have an air compressor, blow it out. You know, blow out your hoses really good. And if you could follow up behind it, you know, it's always good to have like even a scrap piece of hose that you can put on the here, and then just bring it up high, zip tie it, and then pour a little glycol in there, or antifreeze, you know, to protect the pump. So a lot of that stuff, antifreeze and stuff that you get now, is good for aluminum radiators and seals and things like that. So that's going to be good for this pump. And if you're storing it in a garage and anything like that, if you don't get all the water out and there's a potential for freezing, then that antifreeze will prevent that. So not only will it prevent the seals from getting jammed up, and you know, the calcium and mineral buildup, it'll also help from prevent it from freezing. So I hope this video helps everyone. And again, if you see pressure washers in the trash, I'd pick them up. They're an easy fix. You know, you usually pay a few $100 for these after you pay Uncle Sam. So I think it's worth it. I had maybe one or two that I really couldn't fix. And even then, I just let them sit around until I run across another pressure washer, and then I kind of swap parts. So one way or another, we're getting a deal. We're getting a working pressure washer. So the last one I trash picked was actually a rigid pressure washer, and it had a Subaru motor on there, which I've never seen before. That one I have outside, and that thing, it just starts up every time and did the same thing. But that pressure washer there was definitely higher end, because the body of the pump was entirely made of brass. So that was definitely worth fixing. And you know, somebody paid a pretty penny for that if they have an old brass pump. So that's if you do see an old brass pump, definitely worth grabbing. I would grab it immediately. If you see anything like that in the trash, or have somebody that has a pressure washer and says, "Hey, this thing doesn't work. You want it?" You know, something like that. I would take it. Take the pump off, disassemble it, soak everything. You'd be surprised what a little maintenance can do. So again, I hope hope this helps. Helps you guys out. And like I said, if you see them, grab them. Take care.